Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there.
Oh, what can you say, guys? It's just, it never ends. It never ends. So this video here, and let me just rewind it. And I want to be careful because we spent a lot of time putting together this video and then only to find that they wouldn't allow us to upload it because of a copyright patent. You never know what's going to be copyrighted. You don't know. And so, better safe than sorry. But here you see the WEF agenda in full force. Hundreds of schools in the Netherlands and started a campaign introducing 10 to 12-year-olds mealworms and insects as sustainable meat substitute. They say their goal is to bring about behavioral changes through unprejudiced children. Yeah, right. Again, what about it's either called chitin or chitin. It's spelled with a CH. It is kind of like a lectin, a protein that's found in insects that many humans have a bad allergic reaction to. So, why are they pushing this if it's something that more than likely, or at least possibly, is going to cause an immune system response and inflammation? Why?
I don't know. It seems like a popular thing to do. Getting that immune system to respond not so good.
Yeah, as we know, there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. And this one is a news report about turning plastic into protein powder. Plastic? Again, how about estrogens? How about what's going on right now? All these things that we're exposed to, and we have a fertility crisis well underway. We have sperm count that's dropped over 60%. Fertility rates are plummeting. Unfortunately, expected lifespan is decreasing and more rapidly than we've ever seen. I'm at a loss for words.
It is. I mean, this one was pretty shocking. Using that, oh, here we go, guys. We're going to find a new way to save the earth. And, well, you're probably going to die while we figure out how bad this is for your body. But, oh, well, that's kind of how they see things.
Well, this is a lesson in stupidity. And it tells us just how ignorant they think we are.
It does.
So they're going to sell this. They are selling it to the masses. And by the way, please do subscribe to both channels. And we thank you guys for being part of the family. Severe flooding continues to pummel parts of Australia. We've seen so many cars underwater in these times, really since 2017 and that first eclipse, as we're racing to that second eclipse in April of 2024. 2024, what a big year. And that's just not far away, guys. Not far away at all. We're in October. Before you blink your eyes, you're going to be in 2023. Oh, man. Talk about being in the thick of it. Well, they have 40-foot floodwaters going on in some parts of Australia. That's insane. It's incredible what we're seeing. But again, this is all something we've seen in all different parts of the globe. And here they are rescuing a bunch of horses. This is from the Weather Channel in southeastern Australia from these floodwaters.
I know, and I would just keep just one.
Just one. That's her dream, is to get back to what she had as a little girl growing up on the Canadian border in Idaho and growing up on a farm and having a horse. That's what, that's the bucket list.
Well, it's the best therapy on the planet to just constantly be surrounded by animals and nature and all of those things. It's great.
So we're going to have an unusually cold weather blast on the eastern U.S. this week. I saw we're going to be going from, we've been pretty much like 78 to 80. It's been nice, really nice. And I saw we're going to have high temps of about 60. So it's going to get a lot cooler because, the overnight temps are going to drop quite a bit. And you might actually see some freezes going on in the southeast U.S., perhaps even as far down as northern Florida and southern Georgia and Alabama. Hang on tight, bring in the tomatoes, guys. It's time to bring in the tomatoes. But of course, with everything we have going on and the disruption to the food supply, the hyperinflation going on with, say, things like keeping your house warm, gosh, the grocery bills, and talking about the grocery bills, frost decimates New Zealand's blueberry crop. Once in 50-year frost. Oh, that's just, I guess it's probably climate change induced. Yeah, it's because Grandma drove an extra mile last year.
Blame it on that grandma.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Paraguay, record lows logged at Bismarck and Parkersburg. That's North Dakota and West Virginia. And we got some snow in India already, and in China too. We have cold snap prompting northern cities to activate heating early. All this coinciding with the Ukrainian war, which of course has disrupted gas flow to Europe and the NATO countries. It's just a perfect storm. Mm-hmm. It's a symphony of destruction. And who is the conductor? Is it you, Klaus?
I know. I think it's Klaus.
Is it Bill? Is it Klaus? Is it who? Who?
I don't know. I don't know who it could be.
Well, footage shows the moment a match was abandoned after lightning electrocuted the referee in the Philippines. And, thankfully he survived. There is video here, which it shows the bolt coming down. You can't make it out hitting the person, but there is a massive, massive boom. And this 19-year-old girl was hit by lightning, and look at what it left. It's so fascinating. When I see this, instantly I was thinking of other slides I've seen of the human vascular network, and then of leaves, and then of snowflakes. They all kind of have that same sort of patterning.
I know, and I was immediately thinking about repatterning, except for it went into her 3D body, and we do the energy body. It's just so amazing.
So when she's saying repatterning, she's talking about when we do energy work, which includes through thought and intention, sending energy, as well as Cindy using her tools where, she has, how many of those tuning forks do you have? Like 50?
Probably about that, yeah.
Yeah, she has a lot of tuning forks. Each one has a specific purpose.
Well, they call to me, though. So when we are working on someone, then I pick one up, and it always just so happens to be something that they needed. So it's really interesting. They have their own personality.
Which gets me thinking about entrainment.
Yes, entrainment. That's a very important part of it.
So entrainment's basically, we will raise our vibrations to the highest frequency that we're being exposed to. So, it works in different ways. Like, you ever been in a room and then somebody comes into the room and that person has, like, say, a supercharge of negative energy, the entire room just changed. The atmosphere changed. It's the same thing with the tuning forks in a positive way. So when you're exposed to these frequencies, it's basically harmonizing certain aspects of our energy body with those frequencies.
It is. I have them for the heart, lungs, everything.
And here is, speaking of hearts, another artist, Mikabin. I'm not familiar with him, but he collapsed and died on stage in France. I think he was from Haiti. 41 years old, and so we send our prayers to his family and to him as well. A lot of times what we've seen with the plague upon the land and the C period, U period, R period, E period, when people pass on, there's confusion on the other side because there's these substances that affect their consciousness that normally wouldn't be the case. But here, when people have had certain things done, it does make it very confusing and cloudy for them often on the other side. It's not irrevocable, just so you guys know. It just can prolong a certain state of confusion when somebody initially passes over.
Very, very true. And you know, think about it. This is why they have those other updates after you get that one. They have further, because it further pulls us down to their fake etheric realm.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Supplanting the natural order of things with the artificial. That's what everything is about in a nutshell. Meanwhile, DC tent cities popping up everywhere. If you haven't been through DC lately, you might be shocked. And honestly, I've never enjoyed the energy of DC. Even when I took the kids there when they were little and say, oh, look at the Washington Monument. Oh, there's the White House and everything. The whole time, the energy just felt really oppressive. Again, this capital has been constructed in a very, very, it has a lot of thought behind it, to put it, in a gentle way.
I know, and it's really interesting you use that word, because when they made this entire place, the first brick that was laid to create all of the rest of the monuments here was made for oppression purposes, to make sure people were trapped in that energy of control. And it's really amazing when you are sensitive, you do start picking up on these things.
Yeah, if we could look at this just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. There is so much geometry of a sacred and non-sacred kind in DC. This has been laid completely on purpose with meticulous detail. And again, this is something we have talked about in more detail on other videos, and we'll maybe revisit this shortly in more detail on another video. But absolutely, the purpose of this country, and in many ways the new Atlantis, this is everything has its purpose. There is no coincidences here, no coincidences at all in anything that we are seeing. And then this one was showing downtown LA, and
I drove.
Again, I'm just gonna kind of go through, give you a view. It's horrible what has become of us.
Mm-hmm.
What has become of us? It's basically what happened to Rome when Rome fell too. There was such a disintegration from the inside, a deterioration, polarization, just complete lack of any sort of overriding, guiding morals that are just disappearing. And again, the gates basically were left open, so to speak, for the barbarians to come on in. Yet when we look at it, the Germanic tribes that came into Rome, history might call them barbarians, but the Roman Empire itself was pretty damn barbaric. And it is a fine example of the control system that's never really left the planet for 6,000 years.
Indeed.
Many more foods will be gene edited than we might think. Well, gene edited, gene modified. There's so much infection again going on, and everything that was organic and sacred, that it's going to make it very, very difficult to find really clean food to eat. And again, this is why we have gotten that it's going to be so much more important to grow as much of your own that you possibly can do. So at least you understand and where it's been, and you've been able to watch over it.
And if you have seeds that are fruiting, my gosh, keep those seeds starting this year.
Absolutely. We have some watermelon seeds that we harvested from some watermelon plants. We have one last watermelon out there now. It's pretty big, actually. I just was noticing it. Should be about time to pick it pretty soon. But when you see this chart, you can see the number of patents on gene-edited agricultural products is skyrocketing. So again, this is another reason why companies do it. For one, because, if you modify something, you could claim it's yours. You could patent it. You can make money on it. Money is the root of all evil. Aha. And some will say, no, it's the love of money. Well, this monetary system itself is the root of all evil. This is what controls us. This is what keeps most people from jumping outside the system, because how are you going to do it? How are you going to jump out of the system and then pay your taxes? Because they tax you on something that you bought maybe decades ago. They tax you on the money that you inherit from your mother or father.
Yeah.
Why? Who gives them the authority? Because really, who is it when you think about it? The Federal Reserve is not federal. It's the private banks. It's Chase Manhattan. It's Bank of America. It's J.P. Morgan. It goes back to these same families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, et cetera, et cetera. They are ticks and leeches and parasites that just have entrenched themselves deep into the flesh of humanity.
I know, and they've taxed money on taxed money. And then if you get something inheritance from parents, grandparents, well, you're going to have to pay the tax on that after they've already paid the tax on that. It's just never ending.
And after you are modified, will they incorporate? And you guys get where we're going there? Are they going to put a patent on you?
Yep.
Because you're no longer natural. How do you know you're going to be natural if you're eating GMO foods?
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Again, this is part of the system, and it's all about claiming ownership over humanity. Ownership over humanity. Making foods with Terminator seeds that are going to infect, the regular heirloom and organic stuff, so that nothing's going to grow naturally anymore. Yeah, control the markets, control the people, control everything. Get them hooked to certain ways of life and certain cures, so they can't live without them. You got yourself slaves.
And look at even these sources of light they're putting in the sky. Is the source of light going to be patented? Are you going to need that source to grow the new kind of GMO plants, I wonder?
That's another thought there too.
Yeah.
All this is an indication of the splitting of humanity, where some of humanity is going to follow the controllers down the pathway to darkness, literally. Literally as well as figuratively, and the other will go up into the light and into freedom. So number 45 posted this video, and this is Gary Franke right here. I'll give you guys all the links as always. Posted this video that people have taken to be what's he gonna do? We got from the guides back before the election, it's going to look like 45 is gone, but he's not really gone. Now, when Inauguration Day came and gone, and we all know, that still is echoing throughout the halls of history. Many people were expecting something, and then something did happen. And then we started getting these dates. Now, not us, but other people were saying, don't worry, he'll be back. He'll be back in a certain place, Casablanca, by March. No. By August. No. By September. No. And the dates would keep going out. But the guides did tell us it's going to look like he's gone, but he's not totally gone. But that doesn't really mean that he would be reinstated or anything. It could mean, again, I always had the feeling that it was the end of this time period, is one of the things that he has foreshadowed. And this time period being, it truly is. It's the Pluto return now. So February 2nd, or February 22nd, 2022, right? 2022. Yeah, all these twos. Two is duality and conflict and everything. And then you could put them together and make a bunch of sixes. You know, again, it's all the writing on the wall. The Pluto return means the country is going to not be what it was. It's going to change totally. It might break up into pieces, and that's what we have seen. Perhaps 5 pieces? Is that still what? Yeah.
So far, I think, yeah.
5 seems to be the most likely. With it being divided up, and who knows who's going to end up in control of certain pieces of this country. It feels that there'll be maybe a finishing of the end of this country as we know it by the time we get to about 2025. So that's not far off. The dividing, the second Civil War 2.0, so to speak. This is what all this feels like to me. It's bringing in that next stage, because we have to be, really, it feels like we have to be under the grips of that Civil War 2.0 before the Red Dawn really truly occurs, if you guys understand that, and I think you do.
And, you know, I just wanted to touch on the symbology of this, too, if you guys get a chance to watch it. This is very much, they're speaking about the stars, you know, how this is written in the stars, and you see the Maga. It's kind of a play on words with Trump's nakshatra being that of Magha, which is that of a kingly nature, and the star, basically it's the star rising in the east when he was born, and the star with the lion there, the star is known as Regulus. So him kind of claiming that area where he's going to be king of something. So we'll have to see what comes.
Yeah, and again, Magha, what she's talking Sanskrit, and she's talking Vedic astrology. And his nakshatra is Magha, which is represented by, guess what? A lion. There you go. And again, royalty, the crown, etc. It's you can't make up all this stuff. I mean, everything is completely part of this scripted play and drama that we're in. There's a reason why it's him. There's a reason why it's each one of them that it is. And also at the same time, now Mars is going retrograde. So, you know, the negative aspects of Mars, which is war, conflict, etc., that's going to take precedent for a time period. And that time period is basically, I think it is today. I think it was the 16th that it starts to go retrograde. And that's going to dominate everything until we return, going back into Taurus again, which means it's going to be back into the economy, and the financial reset, a collapse will take dominance. But right now there's going to be a period of more open conflict that we're heading into.
Right. And, you know, it's like he is taking this position where he is going to take a position. So they're using the stars to lay everything out. And one's nakshatra is very, very, very significant to who they are. So it's like really your stamp in life. What are you to do? And Magha are said to be great leaders. So we'll see.
And so this I'll give you guys this link. This just shows the entirety of the video, which has the great voice of Christopher Walken going through and making these statements, talking all about the lion, the king of the jungle, and how, you know, everything from hyenas and coyotes will nip at them when they can, try to even steal their prey, but they're still the king. So it keeps coming back to this king of the jungle thing, and saying, watch out when the lion is ready to make its move. So, you know, this is something he posted a few days back, and this is actually the clip where you could actually listen to it in its original context. The movie was called Pool Hall Junkies, and Christopher Walken is talking to somebody in the bathroom, basically giving them this speech, which sounds very much like a speech that you would give somebody that maybe just decided they weren't going to pay the mafia back.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, you know what I mean? And meanwhile, everybody's lining up to take their daily test over here in China. Again, this is the system they want for everybody. Everybody. Yeah, every day. Line up, take your test, or you can't work. You can't work, you can't support yourself, you can't support your family again. The monetary system is evil. It's evil. There's no way around it. Swarmed Navy destroyer had its bridge illuminated by mysterious drones. So this is what we were talking about that happened off the coast of Southern California in 2019 that caused such a stir. And where were these? Well, whose drones? We don't know. Were these drones extraterrestrial? Were they... Is this simply just a ruse where they want to let us know that there's ETs out there? But they don't want to actually say, well, by the way, it was the ETs that are controlling our military that were doing this so we could do a soft disclosure while building up anxiety over an alien invasion. And of course, when the time comes to let everybody know that there are extraterrestrials and interdimensional beings, because the controllers are who we would call Satan, the adversary of humanity, they will portray themselves as the good guys, and the good guys, they're going to make out to be the bad guys. This is just what they do. Again, history and all the major writings that pertain to this world and the world system that's in place is written by them.
They write it. It's their story.
They write it. Look up the top 3 books ever put into print, and you get an idea of what they put out as a narrative. Now, this guy looks a little too friendly for your typical gray. He's got a little bit of a smile on him. But why do we bring up the grays? Because I've seen several comments lately where people were saying that they've heard that the grays are humanity in the future, humans that choose to go down that AI path end up being just like the grays in the future. And in a way, yes, absolutely, because the grays, they're part, and again, there are some wholly organic grays out there. What we're talking about is the ones that are around us most of the time, the ones that are on the ships that are basically working what we would call the draconian AI power structure on this planet. And again, the draconian, they basically are over these little guys who, if you want to feel their intent and their nature, this might be a little bit more accurate. That was actually a pretty cool movie, Jupiter Rising. And then these guys, which from my memory, last time I saw one was about 5 years ago, fully visibly manifested, but we've also seen them following us in the desert. He was about 8 to 9 feet tall and very thin, very spindly. His fingertip to his elbow was longer than my entire arm. And these guys oversee the little guys.
And, when it comes to the little guys, when they're created with a section of DNA, it's very limited information, which makes them very, very controllable. So really, they're just doing as they're told. And we have to recognize that, because that there's no mercy. Those little things are going to do whatever they want. And then they can graduate up to other beings who are made with extra type of DNA, which has more information, and they can do more things. So if you look into it energetically, there's these different layers of entities, and they have different abilities. And this is where we need to be very, very conscious about the split. We don't want to go down the road of AI, because obviously this is where it leads. So the split in energies is so very important, and hopefully you've decided by now which way you're going to go, and you're on that path. Not everybody is going to choose to be organic, and that's their choice. That's their thing. Maybe they want to go that direction, but I have chosen to be completely organic, and I'm going to walk down that path and do whatever it takes to remain on that path.
And that's recognizing too that we spend some of our time inhabiting a vehicle in this 3D density, and then some of the times we're not in a vehicle. And so we might look like an orb to others seeing us, or we might still have the form, albeit more like a ghost, an ethereal human shape to us. But our consciousness is primarily residing on either 3D or 4D. When we sleep, again, we are basically out there in the 4D. And that's where these guys primarily reside, but they do understand how to lower their frequency and their vibration so they can physically manifest in the 3D. It's the same thing with some that we would call big feet and some other cryptids. There are other cryptids as well that understand how to lower and raise their vibration. That's why, you'll have reports of a Bigfoot and all of a sudden it's gone. But you'll have footprints. Well, look, there's footprints. It had to be physical. But where did it go to? The footprints all of a sudden stop. When I was in North Carolina, there were footprints that walked straight up to a tree, and then there was none going away from it. They just disappeared. And this is what it is. They understand how to do this. We've touched on some yogis like Sri Yukteswar, the teacher of Yogananda, who was able to manifest a completely 3D body to inhabit and appear to Yogananda, while his regular 3D body was deep in meditation 100 miles away. These are the type of mysteries that the controllers don't want you understanding anything of, or even thinking that they're real. They want you to laugh it off and say, ha, yeah, sure. That's exactly what they want you to act like. They don't want you to understand that there's beings that can actually de-manifest themselves right in front of our eyes. And when I saw this one, it was shocked that I was able to perceive it and able to wake up, because it thought I was under. But it just immediately looked away from me, and it went into a meditative state. It broke eye contact immediately. It moved its head to its right, and it went into kind of a trance. And then it went from looking as solid as this picture looks to be, and that's a pretty accurate picture, really. It almost makes you feel like somebody has seen one in person. So all of a sudden being more like an energy pattern, just like in Star Trek when they beam them up and then it was gone. So, we wanted to share with you, this is what we are battling. These beings have knowledge that most humans don't. But they're controlled by these guys, and you can get rid of any of them and clear your space just by simply smudging and putting out your intent that they leave.
Mm-hmm. Yes, gifted people are usually being watched, and generally you can feel it, but you can't pinpoint it. So I really suggest you get comfortable with sage. You learn about sage, figure out how it's going to work best for you, and be saging every day. Mike and I sage every day, several times a day. It's like a spiritual kind of hygiene, I like to call it. It's like washing your hands between everything, between every person. It's very, very, very important. So I think it would be a good idea if you'd learn that. Also learn how to use salt. Salt can break down sine waves or other little entities that might be standing around you. It can just drop those sine waves and they are gone, and they can't come in that area for some time. So learning those techniques amongst others and to how to clear, building your energy body, helps push these little guys away.
It really does. And you, again, can get a package of, I'd say 5 to 10 bundles of sage for maybe $20. One of these smudge sticks will last you quite a while.
You can grow it.
Yeah, you could grow it yourself too. And sage is all over the desert. All over the desert. And isn't it interesting how, what's a sage? Sage is somebody with wisdom. Mm-hmm. Well, there's wisdom in using this to clear your air and clear your vicinity. And again, intention can do it too, because there's times I'll clear without even getting up out of bed. I won't even light the sage. I'll just basically visualize in my mind's eye that I'm clearing a space, and it'll work. We've cleared thousands of what you would call demonic entities. And again, it's something where you don't want to be susceptible to them. So if you're using too much alcohol, if you're using all sorts of mind-altering chemicals, you're opening yourself up to them. And big FARMA is a wide open door. A wide open door. And this is another big part of the purpose of cures in the first place. It's to just make you be a wide open door to other beings.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's tying you into that synthetic nature of things, giving your body signals from your laptops to your iPhones to your tablets, and then you're actually become a part of that network. When we want to stay organic, we want to be part of the organic network of all things, and for that we really have to watch what we eat. We have to watch our diet. We have to watch even what we take in on TV. I know there's been some shows that I had to take breaks from watching and actually clear myself, but I wanted to go back and see it because I just had to, but I still had to clear myself. So all of these decisions that we make now are really important in understanding our organic nature of things. And this stuff that's on the screen now, this is not good. This is not good. And I don't care who tries to paint it in what picture. I know there's been stories out there, oh, there's a good type of technology. No, there's not. There's not. Don't let anyone tell you that. Try to stay as grounded as possible. The earth is the best medicine.
The other thing that this is, and there's multi-purposes going on for so many things. Now, some people might think that the main purpose for the C period, U period, R period, E period is to bring about numbers like D, E, A, G, E, L. Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, but there's layers to these purposes. So when you see this, what are you really seeing? Think about this. The towers, there's routers in the houses, there's, basically every smartphone, every smart TV, all this, they're all receivers. These receivers are all around us. And we call this the information highway, right? We call that the information highway. Well, it is, but it's also a highway that these guys travel on. Yeah, that they literally can get through. They could go through your modem, your smartphone, and affect you. That's part of the information highway. It really is a highway. Again, it's the truth is right in our face. Think about all the people going from point A to point B on the highway every day. Well, think about all the beings going through your router every day, coming to you, hi, on your smartphone.
Mm-hmm. So it's please shut those things off when you're not using them. And try to get used to the quietness. We always talk about finding that silence, that stillness inside. That's the most valuable thing that you could ever develop.
Absolutely. So, close the doors to these guys because they're not nice. Mm-mm. Not at all. Again, thanks for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi, guys. We couldn't do it without you guys. May you be blessed by the creator of this universe and by all the benevolent beings that want to help from the higher densities where these guys can't go. Much love. Namaste.
Namaste.